Yes, so we are back. Let us continue. Now we'll be looking at the diversity in the US culture. So whether we make the laws about diversity or not, diversity have become a part of us, especially in US. So we look at the character of US culture now. You can see that the US mainstream culture is consistently described as being individualistic, egalitarian, pragmatic, hardworking, action-oriented, data-based, and amenable to change. But this is what is unique about America. The individualistic culture. I mean, it's more of individualism, and they are more egalitarian. They are pragmatic. They are hardworking. But another thing that is make US unique is diversity. Now, as of the time I made this notes, we have that people of Hispanic, African, and Asian heritage now make up at least 35% of all the new workers in America. 35% of the new workers in America are either Hispanic, African, and Asian heritage. Now, today, almost one in every six American workers are foreign born. You can check, you can verify this from where you work, your workplace. Then, the US workforce is composed of more minorities or recent immigrants and women from and women, of course, a lot of women are in the workforce and everywhere, every field, not before where they are limited to office work and so on. So, but now they can work in every field. So a lot of workers in the US are immigrants. Of course, everybody in the US is apart from the Indians who own the place. Everybody's an immigrant, either the first generation, second generation, or third generation of immigrants. Now, in any case, 2/3 of global migration into the United States. 2/3, that means about almost 66% of the total migration in the world into the United States. So that makes us, we are gradually becoming some kind of a nation of minorities. So with this in mind, it makes a lot of sense to implement a policy that will ensure that one has a diverse workforce. Because each of these, as you can see, 35% of all new workers. So either Hispanic, African, or Asian heritage, and they have their own, I would say unique characteristics, cultures, and values. So, and being a business owner, you want to make your employees happy. How can you make them happy than knowing their values and culture? I mean, not that you know everything, but at least you know a few things that people from that culture values. So you want to know that so that you can know how to apportion your rewards for performance or your values, or bonuses that you want to give out. Because we know that a happy workforce means a happy organization and a productive organization. And a productive organization means that more profits, more sales and more profits. So which leads us to business. Another concept, well, not really a concept, it's a common phrase that business has become global. Yes, I'm sure you must have heard this phrase a lot from other places. Um, every business, even if some people can be in here in their room, their business might be in their room or their house basement, and they're making sales abroad. So long as the customer is willing to pay for the shipping costs, So business has become global. And more than 100,000 US companies are involved in worldwide ventures that are worth over 1 trillion. And US corporations also have invested more than 400 billion abroad and employ more than 60 million overseas workers. There used to be a time, I think it was I forgot the name of the city where there's a kind of arrangement they have. It's a city in Maryland here. That city was known for crabs. During the crab season, they need a lot of workers from Mexico to come over to help with the some of the, I don't know the kind of work they do on the crabs, to kind of preparing the crabs for packaging and all that stuff. So they used to have a guest worker program. I forgot the exact name they give them. They come here during that season, they work during that time, and then they go back to Mexico. So that is one of the, it's part of going global. So everything is going that way. You don't want to limit yourself to only sales in the United States. I show you the world population. You see that a lot of people in there live outside the United States. I might even show you a few. Let me see if I can pull that out. If I have, well, that means I have to open a new website. Let me see. I open it from here. You see, world population. World population by country. Yeah. All right. We look at this. Okay. Okay, I think I see it. I see that China has 1.4 billion people. Yeah. And then India have almost 1.4 billion as well. United States has 301 million. Then see 1.4 billion and 1.4 billion, that's a lot of market right there. Then how about Indonesia? 273 million. Pakistan, 220 million. Nigeria, Brazil. So you can see that a lot of people live outside the United States. And this number represents market. So you don't want to limit yourself to sell to only 331 million people, which depending on the product you make. Not all of these 331 million will buy your product, because you have to compete with other industries. So you want to broaden your horizon. So that's why you need to go global. It becomes very important to go global. And that's what the whole world is doing now. And an example of global manufacturing, you take a simple product like the Apple phone. And I'm going to show you how diverse, it's a diverse product, because if you look at the people that made the components of the Apple iPhone, you see that it's a diverse product. Many people from different places are contributing in making the existence of the Apple iPhone a reality, even though it is owned by the Apple company. But it's a global product, and it is also a diverse product. Look at this. The modem, battery, Wi-Fi module come from 3 Chinese suppliers. That's the modem, battery, and the Wi-Fi module of Apple iPhone 6 come from Chinese suppliers. Then the radio frequency that it uses, the radio frequency transceiver, is made by Qualcomm, which is also a company in China. Now, the rare minerals for circuitry, speakers, and screen colors come from California and China. Now, and maybe some of you have not heard about these rare minerals. These rare minerals, very, very important. very, very important. Most of the things that you enjoy today, TV, flat screen, iPhone, are met. These rare minerals are part of the components used to make them. Even these electric cars that we have these days, or this modern car that can tell you when you are, it's almost like a computer. Now, let me give you more information about this rare earth metals. That's what I have on the screen. These rare earth metals, there are 17 of them in number. You can see the list right here. So now, they are essential part of many high-tech devices, things like cell phones, computer hard drives, electric and hybrid vehicles, flat screen monitors, and TV. Even some things that we use in defense, like electronic displays, guidance system like a GPS, lasers, radar, and solar system are made from this rare earth element. So not are made from it, but rare earth elements are part of the components that made them function. Now, China controls 3% of, rare earth. Sorry, 8% of the world production. In 1993. Then 33 from US and 12 from Australia. But now, as of 2018, China accounted for more than 90% of world production of rare earth metal. I mean, US have large deposits of this rare earth metal. But then you know that US politicians, especially the Democratic Party, they worship the climate change god. They don't want to, drill those elements on the ground because they believe that it messes up the environment, which is the same reason we're having higher gas prices now, because of the fact that we have so much oil, but due to a very constrictive regulations, oil companies cannot, exploit them. Anyway, I think I made my point here. Let's go back to where we are. We have the processors of the part of the cell phone are made in South Korea and Taiwan. See, this is one product. You can see how people from different places contributed to making it a reality. Now, the RAM, which is random access memory device that is in the cell phone, that iPhone, is made by Samsung in Korea. Now, the display and camera came from 2 different suppliers in Japan. Then chassis, which is basically the I would say the main thing where other components were attached. That's the body of the phone. Is made in China. So a survey of 500 largest corporations in the world show that having competent global leaders, having managers who are well informed about globalization, mean that the company, we have those kind of managers. They can lead the company. They can make the company have enjoy or significant, success with respect to profitability. Any questions so far before I continue? Any question, guys?
No.
Good, excellent. Now this leads us to the concept of cultural competency. 1 minute. Okay, cultural competence. Now, it's just a term that we use to describe, one's ability to understand and appreciate, and as well as interact with people from cultures or belief systems different from one's own. So, in other words, it is awareness and willingness to investigate the reasons why people of another culture act the way they do. So, usually, that there are some, it's unusual, no, not unusual, for some people to regard or view anyone or any group with different ideas and customs as being out of their mind, or improperly brought up, or being improperly brought up, or irresponsible, or psychopath. So we tend to see our own culture as being the best. In every culture, so if you see somebody from a different culture behaving in a different way, you'll be thinking that they are out of their mind. It's not unusual. But then, that is for those who are not culturally competent. So a culturally competent person must avoid this tendency and be patient, understanding, willing to learn, and be flexible. As a business owner, you should, because like I said, the US is gradually becoming a nation of minorities from different countries, so with their own culture. Understanding it will help you to serve them better. And by serving them better, you make more money. Not only that, making you a good leader, because people that work for you might be people from different cultures. So when you manage them properly, being sensitive to their values, it makes you a very good leader that will be respected and followed. Now, the competencies needed by cross-cultural leaders includes we have 6 competencies they need: understanding the business, political, and cultural environment worldwide. You know that it may not be possible to understand all of them. So many businesses that are global is to, if you want to invest in, maybe let's say in India, they might hire consultants in that country to train their workers on the cultural biases and nuances of India. For example, there's a part of India where the cow, I don't know, let me see, let's say it's the cow. I'll write it down so you can know exactly what I mean. The cow. It's sacred. See, cow, like beef, is sacred. So you don't eat meat, the beef there. So if you are there and you kill, or you are serving food that include beef, they are really actually be causing trouble. So a company like McDonald's, when they went there to India, they have in their menu, some part of India where they have in their menu fish, sandwiches, just because by making a sandwich with beef, they won't make any syrup. For that particular part of India, the cow is separate, so they don't kill a cow. To kill a cow means that you are actually violating their cultural values. It might attract some kind of and even reprisal attack in your business. Anyway, I think you get the point. Then is knowing the tests, trends, and technologies of other cultures. Very important. Working simultaneously with people from many different countries, and adapting to living and traveling in foreign lands. And then the 5th competence is learning to relate to people from other cultures on the basis of equality and mutual respect. Now, especially if you are going to sign business deals with people from other cultures, knowing their cultural values might make it smoothing the deal for you. There is some part of the Middle East where if you want to do business with another business located in that country, or you have a business meeting with another manager in, let's say, Saudi Arabia, for example, we travel to the business meeting, unlike what we do in America here, where you go, you shake hands and go right into the business. You don't do that in a country. First of all, you ask, how are you? How is your family? For the first 30 minutes, you'll be asking him and asking. Then that business discussion will be the last thing they will talk. But when you come in and start shake hands and start discussing the business, they feel offended, and you have lost that customer. Just like that, that's it. So it is very important to understand some of these things. So if you want to get a business to go global, which should be your aim, to make a business go global, because you cannot depend only on one market these days. Then understand the influence of culture on human behavior, as culture affects perception and communication. Yeah. So basically, when I was in high school, we did this subject, they call it social studies. And one of the topics there is culture. You say, what is culture? Say, culture is a way of life for people. So in other words, culture influences the behavior of people, as culture affects perception and affect communication. So another example I'll give is this. In a place like Japan, silence is valued so much in Japan. When you're talking to somebody and that person is silent, they value it a lot, because it means that the listener is, thinking about what you're telling him or her and considering it. So, but in America here, if you're telling somebody that kind of instruction, they are silent. You start feeling maybe the person is not interested. I mean, you can tell me if I'm wrong in this case. Now, we can now look at some of the appropriate and inappropriate behavior among cultures. So if you want to get business to go global, then you should be willing to understand the importance of national culture, including perceptions and preferences embodied in language, interpersonal space, communication, time orientation, and religion. So that means you also have to be willing to emphasize the word sensitivity. You have to be sensitive to cultural, values and norms of, different groups that might be a potential customer. So you have to be willing to know, or you should know, that each person must be considered as a unique individual, case by case. So there are many cultural norms that you have to understand about. Well, like I say, you can't know everything. You have to know the ones you have to know. And the rest, you might consider hiring a consultant to, brief you or train you on certain cultural norms. Now, but I have a list of them, a few of them here. Like in Buddhist culture, never touch someone on the head, because they believe that the head is sacred. So that person might feel offended, and the customer might feel offended, and you might lose that customer. Except if those are the people, that customer has an open mind and understand that, yeah, you have a different culture, so that's what you don't understand. Now, in Muslim cultures, never touch or eat with the left hand, because they believe that the left hand is unclean. Now, of course, in Muslim culture, don't schedule any serious or don't schedule a busy day on a Friday, because it's just Sabbath. So they don't have to. They may not even come at all in business meeting on Sabbath day, on Friday. Now, in Germany or Switzerland, don't point your finger to yourself, because it will insult the other person. Like you are talking and say, me, is something like this. Don't do it, because they might feel offended. There are many of them. I recommend you to read some of them in your textbook in this chapter. Now, in addition to cultural norms, language difference can also lead to misunderstanding. Like in US, if you say to table something, it means to put it off until later. But in many European countries, to table it means to do is discuss it now. And there are small don'ts. In Great Britain, say please. This one, they want to say please and thank you often. Their don't is don't ask personal questions. They don't like somebody invading their privacy. In China, the black color is associated with death. So in China, you can print your business card and stationery. Don't print any of your stationery with black color or black borders. So don't use black borders because, like I said, the black color is associated with death in China. Spain, of course, Spain, they speak Spanish. Now, if you want to do any business communication, don't write them in Spanish unless you are very good with Spanish. You know how to speak it very well, know how to write very well. Otherwise, you can write in English. Now, don't expect punctuality. They're not punctual. The Spanish are not that punctual when it comes to meetings. If you have a meeting by 8 o'clock, you might be calling by 8:10, sorry, 8:20 or 8:10 or even 8:30. They are not expected. So every culture have their own nuances. Now, so the 1 minute. We'll now go through a brief history of diversity. Just a brief history. Nothing big. So it started since the late 1800s to 1900s when most groups that migrated in the United States come from Italy, Poland, Ireland, Russia, and of course, I'm sure Dutch should be involved too. So during that time, members of this group, they are, before they came, they view United States as, they believe that United States have the streets of the United States are paved with gold, in a land of opportunity. But when they came, most of them cannot speak English, so they struggled to gain acceptance in industries like coal industry, steel, automobile, and finance. So they were actually discriminated against them. Because they can't speak English and they have their cultural way of life. So as late as 1940s, and in some cases less than that, colleges routinely discriminate against immigrants, Catholics, and Jews. And they established strict quotas that limited education and employment for these groups. Now, this is just for what that they have for the white people, but for the African Americans in those days, they are facing an even more tougher discrimination by the establishment. So now that is the beginning of how this will tell you how diversity started eventually. So it wasn't until 1960s that the struggle for acceptance by the various white ethnic and religious groups had on the whole succeeded. Now, not only that struggle for them, but also the most difficult struggle for equality involved the non-whites. When I say non-white minorities, I mean Black and Hispanics, especially. So they suffered the most difficult, struggle for equality. They have, because let us say have rigid segregation laws that remained a fact of American life for more than 100 years, and after the Civil War. So, and racial discrimination in education, employment, and housing throughout the United States was very harsh, and it was a daily reality. Now, this issue was there's a book that actually it was there that reflected what was going on during that time. That book was called Uncle Tom's Cabin. You get the chance to read by Harriet Stowe. So it addressed the tragedy and challenges of racism during that time. Then come the Brown versus the Board of Education. So the unanimous Supreme Court decision in 1954. It was a case. It was given the name Brown versus Board of Education, and the Supreme Court made the decision that segregation is unconstitutional. So this decision by the Supreme Court created the way that basically set the stage for the Civil Rights Act of 1964. So from them, these laws about affirmative action and the idea of diversity started to spring up, emanate. So other ideas like things like equal employment opportunity, fair treatment in housing, and the illegality of religious, racial, and sex discrimination, all this started to come out. And among them is the diversity concept. So all these issues, laws that relate to civil rights and diversity were given or received the greatest impetus from the civil rights movement. Now, today, we have that America is basically considered to be a melting pot of the world, which means that it is a place where religious, ethnic, and racial differences are blended into American identity. Now the melting point is expected to get bigger and bigger because, like I told you a few minutes ago, we are gradually becoming a nation of minorities. So, because and the population is continuing to grow from 319 million today, and it might be we might reach 417 million by 2060. So, as we keep going that way, minorities are expected to be majority of the population, because if you look at the minority group, we procreate even more than the majority group, the white. So it might be that by the year 2060, the U.S. population can reach 470 million, and then by that time it might become a nation of minorities. So the custom of the various groups that make up the American society, we are unique and different from each other in everything from religious beliefs, sex and gender norms, child-rearing practices, attitude towards wealth, freedom, and government. And they dress, food, and social customs. So today, we can say that the melting pot concept, well, it is still valid, but I would say that you can best describe America as a kind of a kaleidoscope and a melting pot. Have different ethnic groups, different racial groups, different cultures. Yeah. Now, any question before we continue? Yeah, no question. Excellent. Now, so a business owner, every business owner, it is very important that they understand this ethnic, differences of the in the members. I would say different in the population composition of the United States, and also in worldwide, because it makes a lot of good business sense to be more open to the uniqueness of every individual or every culture. So now, like I said, today these differences can make one to believe that America is more like a kaleidoscope than a melting pot. And let me show you. When I say kaleidoscope, some people might ask me, what's a kaleidoscope? I'll show you how it looks like. And I say that because of the fact we are made up of different people from different cultures that come to United States. Let's see if I share this. Okay, good. Okay, let's go. Yeah. All right, let's go. We have to use this is how it looks like. But when we look into it, we'll copy this and paste somewhere. Yeah. Paste the image. Make it smaller so it can be accommodated here. Okay. So we look at this, you see different colors. Okay. Right there. Share this. So we look inside the this is how it looks like. You see different colors. So in US, these different colors might represent different cultures. Why races? Why African American? Even among the black, they still have black African American, have black of Nigerian origin, black of Kenyan origin, black of then have among the whites have the Caucasian whites. Then we have those are not white, they say, people from the Hispanics, I would say. Then we have the Jewish, we have the Italians, we have the Germans, and so on and so forth. So we have less than 3 minutes again. Will not be enough for us to cover much. So I'm going to time us out, come back here, log back in after 10 minutes so we can finish up the class. Okay?
Okay, cool.
All right.